Yeah.
Black women have not been allowed to be the essence of what black and woman is. We still trying to make black women, including themselves, like we still trying to make black women white women with Old Bay and Lowry's. There is no historical evidence of a docile, meek, submissive African woman prior to colonization. There has been an equal authority amongst masculine and feminine with African people that we can document, including their gods, their culture, the priestesses, the rulers of their nations. Hell, we just had the Woman King drop, which means even in the midst of colonization, you saw proof that there was a tribe that not only had a queen, but literally had a woman king, because there could be no masculine head without a feminine head to match it. Black women have, in manifested proof, showed that they belong in just as equal of a leadership position. Not to challenge in a negative way, but to balance, to counterbalance the black man's authority.
Tripp, my Afrocentric brother, my conscious brother. Tripp, I think you've been drinking the wrong titty milk, my nigga. I think you've been drinking that chocolate milk you drinking. It been laced with something, probably fentanyl. Did you just say that we had the Woman King drop and shit? Okay, you do know that was written by a white woman named Dana Stevens, a feminist. Okay, Dana Stevens. Do you know that it was? I think it was produced by Maria Bello, which is another non-melanated, black melanated woman and shit. And also, do you know that the movie was based on a culture that was the movie is based on a culture that was enslaving its own people, a society within the continent over there, the motherland, that was enslaving its own people, that was prolific in selling slaves to the Europeans. Do you know that, bro? My pro-African brother and shit, and my pandering brother and shit, you drinking the wrong titty milk, my nigga. You drinking the wrong titty milks and shit. You quoted the Woman King and shit, man. This is a snippet and shit, okay? Because, the pander is real and shit. It's giving uneducated. It's giving performative bitch. It's giving scam artists willing to tell people what they want to hear so that she can make 3 pieces of silver. Mr. and I spell Mr. M-I-S-T-A, Mr. Tripp Fontaine, the pseudo-educated lame, my nigga.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Okay, I typed Tripp Fontaine into a Google search engine, and he first appears, the name Tripp Fontaine appears as a character in a book called The Virgin Suicides. Alright? It was made into a movie a while back about Sophie Coppola and shit, not really important, except the movie sucked real bad. It sucked, okay? It sucked, alright? As a matter of fact, it sucked so bad, I'm gonna read the little paragraph from Wikipedia about Tripp Fontaine. I think it's important that we read the little paragraph about the character of Tripp Fontaine in the Virgin Suicides, okay? Alright, here I go. When school begins in fall, the character of Lux think that was Kirsten Dunst in the movie. The character of Lux begins a secret romance with local heartthrob Tripp Fontaine. Tripp negotiates with the overprotective Mr. and Mrs. Lisbon to take Lux to the homecoming dance on the condition that he finds dates for the other three sisters as well. After winning homecoming king and queen, Tripp persuades Lux to ditch their group to have sex on the school's football field. Afterward, Tripp abandons Lux, who falls asleep and misses her territory. Tripp and Lux never speak again. Alright? It's hilarious and shit because after that, the family withdrew the girls from school and started homeschool on that shit. Right? And all the other boys that dated the sisters, they were froze out as well. Okay? Fucking hilarious, right? Yeah. So that was the first time when I put this dude. I seen the guy before. I just was dismissive of Mr. Fontaine and shit because I'm older than this motherfucker and I have a lot of life experience. A lot of you guys are older than this motherfucker too and shit. The second time I found Tripp Fontaine, okay, now spelled Tripp, Fone, was on a site called Famous Birthdays, okay? I never heard of this motherfucker. He was born July 1st, 1990. Shit, I'm gonna preference that by saying that I was born in April of 1969 and shit, okay? Just want to preface that. He is born July 1st, 1990. He's a Cancer, and born in the United States, obviously. If you listen to him talk, he's 34, okay? He's 34. And it says here, social media personality, poet, online content creator, Instagram star, and TEDx speaker, okay? Who first gained fame for his TEDx speech called Creatures of Habit at TEDx Columbus, where he shared a mixture of comedy, poetry, and storytelling. Okay? Before his fame, he wrote his first song in the year 1998, which was a parody of the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. He began college in the year 2008. I was well into my adulthood at that time. Tripp Fontaine is a writer. He's the author of a book called A Ghetto Called Eden. His Instagram account, which operates under the handle Tripp Fontaine, has garnered 290,000 followers. He often sports a large bushy beard and large dark rimmed glasses. Alright, his father and younger brother appeared on his Instagram account like It Matters. And in the year 2023, he was featured on the Tonight's Conversation podcast hosted by Perpetual Handwritten Bitch, Ace Metaphor. I did enhance that with my own opinion. Okay, just be honest, it's not written there on the website. It should be. Okay? And we all know that Tripp Fontaine has left that podcast and shit. And I didn't give a fuck, enough of a fuck to even try to find out why that was and shit, because the whole thing is just it's one hell of a shit show. Okay? One hell of a shit show. I gotta be honest, I don't know whether I should call this particular episode, I don't know if I should call it Weak Ninja Talking Points or something else. Tough love for dumb N-words and shit. I probably will be using the N-word at some point during this recording, because I want to tell you, I am 100% serious about the shit that I put on my fucking platform and shit, right? Okay? I'm tired of it, okay? One of the reasons I feel so strongly is because, in our ethnic community, a lot of us are still asleep and whatnot. We haven't woken up from the severe societal, the multi-generational social engineering that leaves us with people like Tripp here and shit. And if I wanted to be snarky about it and shit, I could just say that, I think he's a fake ass nigga. Alright? He's wearing a costume like he's all about positivity and shit. I've known a lot of Tripp Fontaines and shit my years, okay? I want to preference this with my fucking age, whether you like it or not. I am 55, going north. I've known a lot of Tripp Fontaines and shit. Some of them were friends, some were foes. somewhere unwittingly comedic and shit, because every last one of them crashed and burned based on their own rhetoric and shit. Okay, all right. So I feel, especially after looking at this recent podcast where they were asking him why he thought some successful black women were single. His thoughts on that prompted me to make this fucking episode and shit. Okay, because everything he said was bullshit. Okay, everything he said was bullshit, and I'm tired of this pandering. Okay, a lot of their condition is because they choose to be that way and shit. Okay, a lot of that condition and whatnot, but they do the tried and true, blame it on, it's all Jermaine's fault. Okay, everything's fucking Jermaine's fault, but you're strong, stunning, and brave and shit. Okay, and you're not responsible for shit in your environment. Okay, and these ninjas is dusty, and they ain't shit. We hear that 365 days a year, and I'm tired of it. Okay, I'm tired of making these goddamn videos and shit. But I feel like if I don't, a lot of Tripp Fontaines will just take the line and shit. Okay, I'm tired of this white knight bullshit. I think Tripp Fontaine is a fake ass. I think he's a fake ass nigga. Okay, yeah, I'm using that word and shit. I assure you, I am black. I've been black all my life. And recently I had stopped using the N-word and shit, but sometimes it must make a reappearance and shit, because I worry in my later years about the state of young men out there, that they should have enough information out there to make informed choices and shit. And what if we left everything to Tripp Fontaine and his sorority, for lack of a better term? Okay? These guys are going to tell you that everything wrong in our ethnic community is our fault and shit. There's no reciprocity while they step here and talk about how the other side of the line is so oppressed and shit. But they're strong, stunning, and brave, and they run the most businesses, and they occupy key seats of power and shit next to the minority majority, for lack of a better term. Okay? They're like the political purse of the blue party and shit. But they can't get nothing done. Nothing gets done on their watch. But it's all Jermaine's fault. Really. Let that sink in. Right? He was saying something to the effect that the reason that the black women behave in the manner they do is because we haven't given them the opportunity to be women and shit. And I take that as an offense and shit, because of my mother, and especially my grandmother and her mother before her, were real women. Okay, right? My mother was divorced from my father when I was 5 and shit. She took it on the chin. I never saw my mother behaving in an overtly masculine way and shit. Doesn't mean that I wasn't damaged by that upbringing. Living in a house with her and shit instead of living with my father and shit at least part of the year. Doesn't mean I wasn't damaged and shit. She never said a disparaging thing about my father. She never did. Okay? She had flashes here and there, but she never shit on his name and whatnot. And that kind of thinking and shit, the dedication of being a woman, a mom, a career woman. She went to college and shit and got her degree, became a registered nurse, and went even higher and shit. Was a nurse for over 40 fucking years. Raised children and shit. Some of us got the short end of the stick, is particularly the one with the penis. But hey, she never shit on my father. Okay, she'd never tell my father he was a dusty or it was his fault and shit for anything. All right, I was allowed to see my father as much as I wanted when he made himself available and shit. All right, she never told us that fault and shit. It was not perfect. All right, but we live in different times now. And if you're going to listen to Tripp Fontaine and shit, you might as well take some, save up some mad money and get your casket now, right? And get yourself 2 motherfucking pennies, put them shits on your eyes, because our community is not going to change. Our ethnic group, as it exists in the modern times, is going nowhere fast. And it's because of the same still tired talking points that Tripp reinforces why he's trying to finesse some bitch out of her panties, you know, with a digital display on the back of the motherfuckers just running off like the stock market and shit. That's a fucking body count. Like it matters. Right? You want to be a son husband, you listen to Tripp Fontaine and shit, who's based on he's taking his stage name from a guy that was an asshole and drove a girl to suicide in a goddamn Sophie Coppola film and shit. You know, now when I hear the name Tripp Fontaine, I'm gonna think about Kirsten Dunst checking out and shit in that fucking movie because this dude banged her out and left her on the football field and then ignored her. And I feel like Tripp Fontaine is doing that to the brothers. All right, and it's definitely a sisterhood, right? Well, we've been calling it for the last 10 years or less, or maybe more. Maybe my metric is off. We've been calling them the black gynocracy and shit. They're almost a syndicate, and we've seen evidence of that. Huh? Tripp Fontaine is trying to hang their bad behavior on us and shit. Their entitled behavior because they have not been held with their feet to the fire like we do. All right? They don't have the same press agent that we lack and shit. That's why we're classified as thugs and criminals, and we get the short end of the stick and shit. They want us to, put our masculinity in our back pocket and open up our pussy and shit for the rest of the world to have a turn. I say, fuck that noise. All right? I said, fuck that noise. I'm not done talking about Tripp Fontaine and shit, but I don't want to go over 15 minutes. No, I'll stop it right here and shit, but I definitely have more to say.